Black eye perspective. A 12-year-old boy and a 14-year-old girl engage in a shootout with deputies. Deputies in Volusia County, Florida, shot a 14-year-old girl on Tuesday night after she and a 12-year-old boy broke into a home, found multiple guns inside, and then opened on deputies. According to the Volusia County Sheriff's Department, Mike Chitwood, the girl was shot in the abdomen and the arm and is fighting for her life in the hospital, while the boy surrendered and was not injured. Quote, I don't know what to say, where we have gone wrong, that a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old think that it's okay to take on law enforcement, he said. According to Chitwood, the children ran away from their group home in Florida, United Methodist Children's Home, around 5 p.m. Tuesday and evaded police for hours. At about 7:30 p.m., a passerby told the deputies that he heard glass breaking at a home nearby, and deputies found there had been there was forced entry into the home, according to the sheriff's department. Deputies contacted the homeowner, who said that nobody should be home and that there was a handgun, pump shotgun, and an AK-47 inside, as well as a large amount of ammunition, the sheriff's office said. Now, as the deputies surrounded the home and tried to establish a rapport with the boy and the girl, they were met with gunfire, the sheriff said. The sheriff's office said that the children had fired at the deputies on 4 separate occasions over a 35-minute period of time. And at one point, the 14-year-old girl emerged from the home and threatened to kill Sergeant Donnie Maxwell, Chitwood said. We tried to de-escalate. We throw the cell phone into the house and we tried to talk to them. The 14-year-old comes out of the garage with a pump shotgun, levels at the deputies, and despite warnings to drop it, she walks back into the garage. She comes back a second time, and that's when the deputies opened fire, said Chitwood. He also said that officers took multiple rounds of gunfire before they, quote, were left with no other choice but to return fire, end quote. The officers had nowhere to hide but behind trees, he said. After the girl was shot, the boy, who was armed with an AK-47, surrounded to deputies. According to the sheriff's office, at least 8 deputies were involved in the incident, and the sheriff's office said that nobody had any camera footage except and no body camera footage was there and is expected to be released. So whatever body camera footage that they've got, is what it said, is expected to be released on Wednesday. Now that's today. In his press conference, Chitwood praised the officers for their restraint in the face of waves of gunfire. Quote, deputies did everything they could tonight to de-escalate, and they almost lost their lives to a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old. If it wasn't for their training and their supervision, somebody would have ended up dead. Now, that is from the Florida Police Department. Now, he also denounced the Florida Department of Juvenile Justice in a particularly harsh terms, calling the department a failure and a fraud. The sheriff's office said that it handled close to 300 calls at FUMCH in 2020. The 14-year-old was arrested for stealing dogs for larceny. She then got to teen court and was sentenced to a halfway house in Flagler County, and she burned that halfway house down in April 2021. The Department of Juvenile Justice placed her in the Florida United Methodist Children's Home, which is the nickname FUMCH. All right, that's the FUMCH. It did not respond for any requests for the comment. I'm going to tell you guys why I see this as being a whole hot mess. Let me tell you why, because this stuff is so planned, and I'm going to say it's planned, and I don't care who don't like it. There's been a lot of stuff going on with children who have been placed inside of these foster homes and things of that nature. This right here seems like a Manchurian to me. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave that part right there. But that's exactly what this feels like, because the last major issue that happened with a child who was placed in custody of a state was up there with the deal with the young lady who had gotten who had the cutlery out trying to carve a human. Remember that? And the police just did something very mean and shot her. Everybody was having a fit. This sounds exactly like that to me. And so I think there's going to be a whole lot more stuff where we're going to see a lot of children who are going to be inside of issues and situations and very odd things. But a lot of them are going to be in foster situations. Again, this is at least the second major thing that's included a foster child. Now, if this particular home had as much problems or as many issues as they said they did, then why would you place a child in that home? Why would you do that? Right, Rachel Van Ziel? And let me tell you guys right now, this story comes from our mailbag. Yes, it does. There you go. Comes from the mailbag. Thank you so very much for that coming from the mailbag. I so appreciate you. It's only one of us here. It looks like it's just you and I, Rachel, and that's a good thing. So let's just talk about this. I believe that it's going to be very tricky here in a minute. I do. I think it's going to be very, very tricky. Wait a minute. Looks like I hear me. I do. I believe it's going to be very tricky here in a minute. And I honestly feel like there's going to be a whole lot more stuff going on this summer where they're going to be saying, oh, it's this, it's that. Oh, well, we know why what's going on. We know why what's happening. We know that's what's going to be going on. We know why, because y'all put this stuff out there like that. Yeah, that's what I think. That is what I think. So with that said, it's a pretty sad situation, but I have too many questions for this story. Let me give the first one. Okay, so if the kids left the house, or how did they know this particular house was the one to break into? These are those types of questions. How did they know this was the house to break into? How did they happen upon this particular house? It's just too, listen, the stuff is just too, it's like, again, low-hanging fruit. There's just too many questions to ask here because, you definitely, I don't know, it's just too many questions. But Rachel Van Ziel says the children are from foster care. Exactly, just like that girl was that got shot by the police officer with a butcher knife. Remember, she went out with the butcher knife? Yeah. All to control a certain type of ownership. Absolutely. Absolutely, that's what it is. That's absolutely what it is. That is absolutely what it is. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. So the thing that I want to tell everybody is that if you can consider this particular story one that was painted with a brush, and it was painted by an artiste. All right. It's a sad story, nonetheless, for the young girl to be 14 and be shot. But most assuredly, this story is a painted story. I hate to say that because people are just going to have a fit, but it's the truth. It is absolutely the truth. It is a painted story. Okay. Yep. Shall not be infringed, but will be and is, because now they're playing on the heartstrings. If stuff doesn't work with the adults, then they got to move it over to the kids to get you to just feel so terrible about the whole darn story that you just, oh, we got to change things. I just talked to a family member the other day. Okay. And they were, oh my gosh, it's so terrible. Oh, I'm just so tired of everything that they're doing. Dude, get off that channel. That's what I felt like saying, but I listened and I was like, okay, all right, well, that sounds terrible. Yeah. But remember what we just got to talking about. We just got to talking about all these nice little terrible little fires and all this other stuff that's going on. Yeah. Yeah. So these kids broke into a house and had a standoff. Really? Surely? Honestly? This just came in from the news as well. Let me see here. Oh, yes. We did this story, though. We talked about this. Oh, really? Let's see what this says. Okay, Sri Lanka braces for worst environmental disaster as the cargo ship carrying chemicals sinks off the coast. And I believe that's what we were just talking about. So this comes from one of our, I'm looking inside the mailbag right now, and let me go ahead and give them a good question there, Rachel Van Ziel. Who did teach him that? Where did that come from? Where did that come from? Who taught them that? How did they know that? 12 and 14 years old. Now, the little girl was still in doggies. That's what she was taking at first. You know, Ronnie Mann and I are going to talk about the story that we told you guys about them. We're going to be talking about that very soon. And so Ronnie Mann and I are going to talk about that. But there's also another story that we do want to talk about. I mentioned it the other day to all of you here online. And that was the story called The Passage. Now, The Passage breaks down how they use these children. When the man said, we need to find a child, she says, I need you to find us a kid. And the guy goes, okay, I can find you a child. That'll be pretty easy to find you somebody, he says, that is not in the, that doesn't have a family, that won't be missed. All right. Okay. And they were putting the child inside of this this deal that they had going on, and they snatched her. They put her into this little organization or whatever. But I don't subscribe to all this stuff as being just just happenstance. I just don't. I'm sorry, I just don't. And it's not like I'm conspiratorial or anything like that. But if you have eyes to see, you can see. And I can see that there's something not right. I'm sorry, it's something not right. There's just something not right. And I don't always buy everything that everybody feeds. Everybody sends you. I don't open all mail that's sent to me, and I don't eat everything that's put before me. Okay? I just don't. I just don't do it. And so I know a lot of people say, well, gee whiz, why not? How come you just don't believe it for what it is? Because it's not. Listen, anytime you remove us from being protected, and I shouldn't even say protected, but the Smith-Mundt Act did a whole lot of good. You guys do me a favor and hit that like button if you've not already done so. I just did. But the Smith-Mundt Act did a lot. And when you repeal it and then you edit it and then you fix it and then you throw it back out, and that means that you can do anything or say anything that you want to be, there's absolutely nothing that would prevent you from doing it. And especially if there's a goal that you have in mind. If your goal in mind is to control a specific part of the the amendments or the Constitution, then of course you're not going to mind that amendment has been changed. You're not going to mind that, you know what I'm saying, that the Smith-Mundt Act has been repealed and changed and fixed and edited and kicked over to the side, and now you're fumbling around with my protection. And that's exactly what this is. I don't care what anybody says. People can get upset and they go, oh, we're going to go ahead and block this video. They can do whatever they want to. And do whatever you want with that. I don't care. The fact is that I can see, and if I have eyes, I'm going to see, and you don't control my eyes. My Father, Yahweh, He controls my eyes, period. And I can see deeper than what you guys are putting up here showing. This stuff is a hot mess. Knock it off. We can see you. You do realize we see you behind that tree, right? Yeah. You do know we see you. We see you. So knock it off. All right? I mean, there's so much witchcraft and there's so much stuff going on that's just so amazing to me. So much witchcraft. Witchcraft, smoke and mirrors. It's terrible. But we see you. And if enough of us get to saying we see you, maybe they'll stop. I hope. Okay? I'm done. Leave Desi says exactly. Why should we believe a thing that they say after they tell us that they can lie to us all they want? Absolutely. That's the reason why we can pick and choose to say this is not real, especially when it connects to our knower. When it connects to our knower, then we already know. I ain't got to listen to none of that. Okay, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. I've got to get to Oz. I've got to hurry. Oh my goodness, the wizard is going to fix everything. As soon as we get to Oz, the wizard will fix it all. He's going to give me a brain. He's going to give me a heart. He's going to give me this. He going to give me how to be able to tap dance again. I'm going to be able to dance a little bit, y'all. Woo, mama. I'm going to get over here to the wizard. He going to fix it up. That's exactly what they think. That we believe that there is definitely this gigantic wizard behind the curtain and he's going to fix everything. No issue. We see you. This type of story right here just makes me done. So there you go. I said it. It's fake. Sorry. That's just the way it is. And they're going to get mad at you for not believing the garbage. People get mad at you for not believing the garbage. Okay? We see the garbage. It doesn't work. And all these fires and all these smoke and all this smoke and mirrors. Exactly. Okay? Smoke and mirrors. It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. Peaches 141. I want to thank you for the blessing that you just sent in my Cash App. I want to publicly thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Peaches 141. One Peaches 41. Thank you. She's one of our mods here. And yeah, you guys pray for each other, please. Lift one another up. Okay. But nonetheless, you guys, yeah, that's the story, and I don't like it, and I don't believe it, and I'm just gonna say it. So I don't care what nobody says. I don't care. Oh, they say she. Man, please, I ain't got time for that. I'm gonna call it like I see it. I've lived on this planet too long for me to sit here and play the game, read it and play the game. Nah, that did not happen. Not like y'all say it did. And if it did, somebody put something in the orange juice, because that right there is crazy. You dropping it, they're just It's just a 12 and a 14-year-old child escaped from a already discredited home that y'all already said was bad. It was already having all kinds of problems. So these children, let's read it again, because this right here stinks to high heaven. Let's read it. Let me let y'all see it while we read it. How about that? How about we do that? Let's look at it while we read it, because we need to see it together, right? There's just something not right. There we are, right there. All right. That's the story. Let's get to it. I'm clicking and bringing it over here for y'all. All righty. See who it's from. All right. Nice betting there. All right, let's listen to this cat.
On the next United Shades,
we're talking about the browning of America.
What does that really mean?
For white people to be a minority, they need to assume all people of color are the same.
United Shades.
Oh, God, I'm so tired of this race crap. Let's see. Oh, here we are.
All people of color.
All right, here we are. Right there.
Sheriff says troubling scene in Florida where a sheriff says a 14-year-old girl was shot after she and a 12-year-old boy opened fire and engaged in a shootout with sheriff's deputies. The sheriff says the two foster children had run away from the juvenile home where they were staying, and then they broke into another home that had multiple guns in it, including an AK-47.
It happened in Deltona. It's about 45 minutes north of Orlando, Florida. Layla Santiago joins us live with the very latest. So these gunmen were gun children, 12 and 14 years old.
These people right here.
Yeah, you're right. It's hard to hear that. And you know, the Volusia County Sheriff says in his 30 plus years in law enforcement, he has never seen anything like this. It left his deputies with nowhere to hide but the trees. That's a quote. We are expecting the body cam footage to be released later this afternoon. So we're hoping to learn a little bit more of how this went down and what led up to it then. But here's what we have learned from the sheriff himself. He says that, as you mentioned, a 12 and 14-year-old ran away from their foster home, ended up breaking into a home with guns. When police approached, they tried several de-escalation tactics, according to the sheriff, but eventually the 14-year-old ended up threatening to kill one of the sergeants. Shortly after that, the shootout took place. According to the sheriff, the teens were shooting from different angles in the homes. And there were 8 deputies involved. None of the deputies were hurt, but we understand, according to the sheriff, the 14-year-old is fighting for her life. As for the 12-year-old, the sheriff says that the 12-year-old was a severe diabetic, but beyond those issues is expected to be okay. I gotta tell you, this sheriff, when he spoke, he was so angry, impassioned, even questioned the future of law enforcement. Take a listen.
Deputies did everything they could tonight to de-escalate, and they almost lost their lives to a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old. Where have we gone wrong that 12-year-old and 14-year-old think it's okay to take on law enforcement?
He was very critical of the juvenile justice system, the system these teens fall under. We did reach out to the foster home where these children were staying. We have not heard back, but something else he said, a message to lawmakers in Tallahassee. He said, wake up, comment and ride along with them and see what's happening on the street instead of, quote, going out for cocktails.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Is it so very funny? It's a very funny situation. I don't believe any of it. No, I don't. No. I don't believe one drop. And you know, the funny thing is she couldn't believe it either. Tell them about the poor little baby. They said one of the babies had diabetes or something like that. A portly little kid chubbingly down the road to a neighbor's house. They just happened to go into a home. They just happened to go into a home that had weapons in it. And just so happened, as Ronnie Mann pointed out, right here, like that there. Okay. And here Sarah says these type of weapons are easy for smaller people to use, which makes them good for women. I think that's the reason why they want to ban them. Yeah, you know, and it's, you know, where is it going to end? You know, it's like a constant, and I don't know what is it that we're waiting on? I don't know. What is it that we're doing? Why do we just, you know, we don't say anything. We just allow the stuff to go on. And it's like, I don't know. I'm just glad that I have nothing to do with any more of the voting and any more of the siding with the sides, because the more that we see this stuff, the more we understand that the best place to be is on the side of Yah. I said that the last episode of what we just got through talking about. The only side to be is on the side of Yah, because the more we try to find any type of balance in any of this stuff is we see the lies and the hypocrisy on all sides. There are lies and hypocrisy on each and every one of the sides. So it's safer for me not to choose any, but just to say this stuff is laughable and to just heighten the spirit of discernment within you is what you've got to do. Because once you start that, you'll be able to, you know, as soon as you read it, you'll be able to see, oh, come on now, give me a break. And then the poor lady, as she's sitting up here saying it, okay, all right. As soon as she's sitting here saying it, she's like, they said, everything she said up to a specific point had a question mark at it. It did. They ran away from the home and the police and they got in trouble and here they go. And it had an AK-47. It did. She want to look at the base and she want to go back and say, hey, come in, base. Come in, base. You want to tap her microphone two or three times. Can y'all hear me? Are y'all serious? Y'all want me to say this? Yeah. So I'm gonna call you out. If I know you tripping, you tripping. You ain't telling no truth. You ain't telling no truth. If you a lie, you a liar. Come on out there and say you just a lie. And it is for entertainment. This is exactly what this is for. I'm going to say this show is completely for entertainment at this very moment. And so was what I just got through reading. And it's a sad display of entertainment. You tell us every single time you mount the microphone exactly what you're gonna do. And in every one of your most recent movies, you guys have been telling us exactly what your goal is. And so therefore, I stand on the word, and I stand and I lean not to my own understanding, but I lean unto the understanding of Yah, because y'all is crazy. If y'all don't think I see it, y'all crazy. Every single thing you orchestrate is amazing to me. I don't know where you get your playbook from, but it's old, tired, and used. Because what I know is going to happen is this is going to ramp up more. It's going to be under the age of 13, under the age of 12, under the age of 14. Over the next few months, y'all going to keep doing this here stuff. And I confess and I profess and I will say right now that when it starts, the people who listening to me right now are going to be remembering of this conversation. And they're going to remember that y'all had it come and y'all had it coming for us, because this right here is wrong. This right here is wrong. Call it out. If you call it out, they got to stop this, because that right there is a hot mess. That is a hot rump mess. I decree it right now that y'all, we're going to call this out, because that's a mess. That is a mess. A 12 and a 14-year-old child. This is sad. Now there's a baby. There probably is. I didn't see no picture, but let's just imagine the truth. If this was all true, because in my gut, I feel like it's not. And I tell you right now that it's only going to get worse. These stories are terrible. And again, I would not feel the way that I feel if the Smith-Mund Act had not been fiddle-faddled with. That is my telltale sign. That when the last cat, the orange Naranga, Mr. Naranga, the orange guy, Naranga, he didn't fix it. He didn't take it back. He didn't make it not happen. He didn't make it stop. Since he didn't make it stop, baby, I don't believe everything you shovel my way. Just because you put it on my plate don't mean I got to eat it. And every dress I see don't mean it's cut for me. So everything you see, you ain't supposed to buy, and you definitely ain't supposed to wear it. Okay, just because they make it in your size don't mean you got to wear it. Just because you put it out in front of me don't mean I got to believe it. And you're not going to use my mind to have that all absorbed in my brain. That's not going to happen. Y'all got some cleaning up to do. I see you. I see your slip. Your slip showing. Your slip showing. Yes, sir. Your slip is showing. Yes, it is. Your slip is showing. For the old school folk in the house, y'all know what I'm saying. The truth is showing. So I think it's a terrible story. I think it's awful. I think it's unbelievable. Okay? I think it is awful. But what I feel is you're going to see, take this away from this, okay? Take this one thing, this major thing. You're going to see more stories involving more children that are going to be coming out of these homes. Adoptive children inside of these foster care homes or non-adopted inside of foster homes, because they're easy to use. They're easy and accessible. They are. Watch that movie I just told you guys about. Watch the movie I just told you about. Vin Lagos says, this isn't shocking. One of my in-laws was murdered by kids this age looking to join a gang. 14 and 16 tossed their lives away seeking the approval of protection of a fake family they didn't have. I agree with you, Vin Lago. In Los Angeles, California, where I was raised, they jumped kids into gangs like this. And one of my friend's sons was jumped into a gang and did that to somebody. I agree. He was no more than 15 years old in South Central Los Angeles. And I agree. And I'm sorry to see that your in-laws had this happen and that your loved one had to lose them to that. I am so sorry to see that. And you are absolutely right. That does exist. But this story right here, Vin Lago, some may write about this story right here. And with your expertise in this terrible type of situation, if you did not see it in the very beginning, then I'd like for you to watch it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, it is not what happened with your loved ones, okay? And you know, I'm going to say this also. we have got to be aware of the devices that our enemy uses. You see, what happened to Vinlago's family, that was a real situation. You see that? That was a real situation that does exist. But the way this story was told was totally opposite of what Vinlago's family suffered. This was, they had just ran away and they just landed inside of somebody's house. And the family just so happened to have X, Y, and Z. And they just so happened to be able to call the owner and say, hey, X, Y, Z. And the owner said, hey, you know what I got inside of the house? You better be careful. And the story was written by bad script writers. And so we feel sorry for Vinlago's family, and we understand how that is. Again, we do understand that people being jumped into gangs is a real thing. We do know that. And we do know that younger and younger children are being recruited by these gangs. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Okay, so what Vinlago is saying, that can happen. It happened in their lives, and we do know that it exists. But baby, what we talking about today is totally Smith-Mund. Okay? Okay? It's totally Smith-Mund. I mean, and so for me, you know what? I'm going to tell you guys something. There's one thing that probably would have kept me asleep and would have had me voting again. And that would have been, had old Naranga, Mr. Orange, Naranga, had he fixed that and put it back to the way it was. When he got there, if he had taken the Smith-Mundak and put it back the way it was and added and made it even better, then I probably would have stayed asleep a little bit longer. But that's one of the things that sort of had my antenna. I even tweeted him when he started talking about something being fake one day. And that sort of got my antenna up. And I was like, yo, okay, well, if that's how you feel, repeal it and you won't have to worry about it being fake. Rachel says they say protect the children, but they pass legislation that puts them in harm's way, most assuredly. Theater, a script provided to the puppets of the oligarchies. You better talk about that more, Brutal 2020. Hey, how you doing there? Anarchy Television, next verse. Same as the first. This is nothing new, this part of the Communist Marxist playbook, okay? Mother Teresa, and you know you ain't joking. You are not joking. Vinlago says, I don't disagree. Nothing is as it seems. I meant that story works because we have been desensitized to it. You better tell the truth. And therefore, most swallow it hook, line, and sinker. That's right. That's the truth. Yes. Ronnie Man says, how dare you question the narrative? You know, I just can't take it anymore, Ronnie Man. I just can't take. I just, you know, it's like, I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. And so, you know, I don't know. I hope y'all know how else to find me, because, child, you know they be after folks. So I hope y'all know how else to find me. I hope you know if I take missing off this platform, where to go look for your sister. Okay. All right. So you guys, we've been on live here about 33 minutes here. And I just tell you, I just couldn't take it. I mean, when that was sent to me from our news bag, I just couldn't take it. I had to read it. And, you know, I want to thank our sub that's here with us, our co-laborer that's here with us right now, who sent that in. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sending that in. I appreciate you. But we're going to go ahead and get on off right now, y'all. But I just tell you what, y'all, keep your eyes open, because, you know, as long as we're keeping our eyes open and then we're confessing when something's not real, and we're just, you know what I'm saying? It's something got to click. Something got to click. Just call it out like you see it. You know, cry loud and spare not. Do the word in every shape of the way. Every shape of the way. And Anarchy Television says, Ronnie, how dare you? How dare you, scallywag? From that movie, Ronnie knows the movie, Scallywag, where he had the teeth and he was shaking his teeth off or whatever. I think it was on Mrs. Doubtfire. Mrs. Doubtfire is loaded full of nice little material. Anyway, you guys, y'all take care, and we will talk again soon. I think some of the stories that we've already done today are taglining are really onto what we were talking about before. Y'all remember that? It's all on what we were talking about before. The big stories from today okay, are dealing with what we just talked about on the 30th, I think it was, right? And then remember the one story that we read this morning that talked about how we're going to connect some dots here. Here you guys go. Let me let you see this right here. Right here. I want you guys to connect these dots right yonder. Right there. Right there. Okay. Remember these threats right here. I'm going to pull this big. You guys look at these. These are what they threatened, right? This is what he threatened. All right. You see that right there? All right. And then look, assassinations and attacks inside of Iran. Do not forget this, because as you hear, this is what he promised. This is the new cat they just voted in or just got him to come on board or whatever. But this is what he attacked. This is what he says. Israel's new Mossad chief threatens more assassinations and attacks inside of Iran. That's what they did. And then today, this was published yesterday. And then today, what happened? Okay. And don't forget all the other stories that we've been looking at. The fires in Syria, then we got the fires in Iran, then we got the fires over here in Pakistan, and then we got the fires at all of these are dealing with oil and chemical companies. Okay. All of them are dealing with oil and chemical companies. However, the one that we read this morning dealing with Iran is dealing with a chemical plant that deals with, get this, strontium, barium. Okay. All of that stuff is in that particular place. All of this stuff. Strontium, barium. What did it say? Aluminum? It said a couple of other things. Yeah, it did. It had a whole bunch of different stuff that it sound like one gigantic trail with a chem in the front of it. It did. It sounded just like one big one is what they were describing. Okay? That's exactly what it sounded like. That's what they were describing. Okay? That's what, and it all coming off of one big place. Then Lago says, believe them when they tell you their plans. Absolutely. Okay, More Brutal says Lockhart, one of the top truth tellers on social media, best kept secret to the public. Ciao, honey. Ciao, honey. Yeah. Okay, you guys. All right. So you guys know that all of that is now burning in their environment, because when that smoke, the big black plume of smoke, that the ingredients, if you go back to that news brief that I did, you'll see what the ingredients are that are burning right now. Huh. Okay, go figure. And what did we say about that on the 30th? That as soon as you start to put two and two together and you figure out that some of your symptoms are based specifically on these things that are going on, all right, with what's coming up out of those plumes and all of these places that are on, that are ablaze, then you're going to put two and two together. Then what's going to happen next is they're going to be saying, can't breathe. This is what's wrong with you. Come on over here. Now you got to take this candy bar, eat it all. Okay. Eat it all. Put it in your pocket. My Josie Wales. Plenty for all. Plenty for all. Put it in your pocket. Put it in your booty. Okay. Take it all, everybody. Take it all. All right. As soon as that starts to happen, now remember, now you got all of this stuff burning everywhere, and it's got to meet in the middle somewhere. There's got to be a Malcolm in the middle somewhere. It's got to meet in the middle somewhere. The middle's got to be someplace. Yeah, when the wind starts to blow, if it's stuff on the north, the south, the east, and the west, the up, the top, the side to side, the back to back, yeah, it's got to meet somewhere. So next you're going to be hearing about everybody having breathing issues, and it's going to be the third wave, the fifth wave, the sixth wave. It's the waves of the waves. Okay. All right. I'm going to read these last 4 comments and then we out. And it says, we put that crap under our arms. Well, I happen to use a deodorant that doesn't do any of that stuff, and I absolutely love it. It works really good. But yes, that is true. It's like one big gigantic ball of, deodorant up in the air, and you just breathe it in. Barium, look that up. It's one of the main ingredients. And thank you. That's exactly why I said trails and then the chem in the front. Yeah, pit fire. It's exactly right. Okay. If it isn't garbage dumped in the environment, it is meds pushed by doctors. It will be interesting to learn what mind-altering meds the foster kids are on. Thank you so much. That's exactly what I said when I said man and the churros. Churros are good. You guys ever had churros? Those are so delicious. Man, Ronnie, how you doing there, Mr. Manchuros? I love y'all. Better follow me. Somebody better follow me. Manchurian candidate is what I'm trying to say. Yes, that's exactly what this is. Y'all, I ain't playing with nobody no more. Let me get up off of here before they get me out of here. Look, it's 39 minutes and 45 seconds in. I got to go before I get in some trouble. Y'all take care, and I will see you all very soon. And remember what we always say on this channel, and that is that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the Most High Yah. Y'all take care, and we'll see you again. Take care of yourselves and take care of one another. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Black Heart Perspective. Black Heart Perspective.